Hello everybody, and welcome to today's family yoga series. My name is Aspen and I will be your yoga instructor for today. Now, family yoga is a really fun type of yoga because it's the type of yoga where everybody just comes together and spends time together and celebrates and relaxes using yoga. So today's yoga lesson is going to be something a little bit different. We are going to incorporate a yoga story that you can use with your family. Of course, this is great for any age level, but this is especially targeted for younger children or elementary age kids and their families so that everybody can bond and enjoy yoga. So today's theme topic for our lesson is going to be observation. And when we think about observation, we want to think about what that means. When we observe something, we really look at something, but we don't just look at it and walk away from it. When we look at it, we really look to see what it is, the details of it, what it's about, what its purpose is, and why it's important or significant. So today, I'm inviting you to come along with me on a yoga journey. We are going to climb up a mountain to the Garden of Wonders, and we are in search of a magical flower. So today, we are all botanists, and to get ready to find our magical flower, what we have to do is we need a few items. So what should we take with us? If we're going to observe, I think we need a few things. So let's pick up our satchels or our backpacks, and we're going to pick a few items to take with us. First, a magnifying glass so we can observe and see things very closely. So we'll put that in. Then we'll grab a notebook because, sometimes if we think about something, we might want to jot a note down and remember it later. And of course, we need a pencil as well. So once you get everything all packed up, you can put your satchel over your shoulder and we are ready to begin our journey. Now, before we start, we want to think about this magical, mystical flower that we have heard so much about. So I'm going to invite you to have a seat with me, and we are going to sit in easy pose where we cross our legs and we have our arms resting here, and we're going to think about how can we imagine our flower. And you've probably seen flowers before in your backyard, in gardens, maybe in your city or your town. And I want you to think about and close your eyes and really imagine your favorite flower. Is it a petunia, a daisy, a begonia, a carnation? It could be anything. There are so many beautiful flowers in the world to pick from. Okay? Now, you can also make it up too. If you want to make up a magical flower that has all sorts of rainbow petals, whatever your imagination wants to do, that's what we're going to do. And we're going to start with something called flower breath. So we're going to put our palms of our hands together and keep our thumbs and our pinkies together, and then we're going to open up the petals of our flowers. And then we're going to smell the flower and take in a very deep breath and close our eyes. And then we're going to hold it, and then we're going to release it and go, because the flower smelled so good. Let's try a few of these, about 5. Ready? And 2. And 3. And 4. And 5. After those flower breaths, we should feel very relaxed, centered, calm, and ready for our journey. So let's go ahead and stand up, and we're going to start marching along. Don't forget your satchel, you have to have that with you. And we're marching along, and we look up in front of us, and we see an enormous mountain. Now, there is a pose in yoga called mountain pose. So we're going to try that pose together so that we can be just like the mountain that we're going to climb up. So you want to stand with your feet hip width apart and make sure you're very strong. Make sure that your toes are spread out on the floor and that your shoulders are back and up straight. And we're just going to stand here and breathe in and out and in and out. Now before we climb up that very tall mountain in front of us, we should do some sun salutations. We see the sun over here, and so we're going to want to warm up so that we can get ready for our big journey. So come to the front of your mat, and we're going to do 3 sun salutations to start off. Bring your hands to your heart and breathe in, up, dip back, and dip down, hands to your toes, peek up, down, step back into plank pose. See if you can lower yourself to the floor, up, tuck your toes in, downward dog and hold it here. Step both feet forward and curl up. Arms up again. And that's 1 sun salutation. Let's go again. And up, down, plank pose, down, up, tuck your toes, into downward dog, step back up to mountain, take your time coming up, and 1 more time, hands up, back, down through, peek up again, back down, legs out 1 at a time. If you get too tired to lower, an option is you can put your knees down and just lower down slowly into a rock pose. Come back up to downward dog. And we'll step here and slowly come up. Shake everything out here with your arms and hands, your feet, and your toes. And now we are ready to start marching up the hill. Don't forget your satchel. Here we go, up the hill. And let's get out our magnifying glass. We want to start looking around because we're starting to really ascend to the top of the mountain. So get your magnifying glass out, and you're looking, and you see something interesting. You get closer and closer, and it turns out to be a tree. Let's try a tree pose. So you want to stand with your feet apart in mountain, and you can do this 1 of 2 ways. You can either do a kickstand with your foot and stay still here and bring your arms up, or you can try to bring your foot up. If you feel like you want to, let your branches wave in the wind. There's a slight breeze on our mountain here. And then come back down. Let's try the other side. You can either kickstand your foot and balance here if you are a beginner, or you can bring your foot up. And take a deep breath here and out. Wave in the wind. And come down. Now we're at the tree and we hear a rustling above, and we look up and we see a majestic eagle in the tree. So we're going to try eagle pose. So very similar to tree. We're going to put our foot over, and there's 2 ways to do this. You can keep your foot on the ground, or you can try a challenge. Wrap your foot around, and you're going to bring your arms together and pose like an eagle. And let's try the other side. This is the variation here. And pose like an eagle. Now this was a very cool memory, so we want to take a second, get our notebook out, and what did we observe? So we're going to look at the tree, draw the tree, and let's draw the eagle too. Now we'll keep that in our memory. Put it back in your satchel and let's keep moving along. So we're marching, and we have our magnifying glass. We're looking around, and ooh, we see something on the ground. Let's get into downward dog so we can look at that a little bit better. So step back into downward dog. Hold here for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to look a little closer. And it looks like we have found our magical flower. So we are going to try flower pose. So let's put our feet together, and you can bring them up, and you can either hold your knees here to hold in flower pose and then have your petals with your hands right here. See if you can balance and relax. We'll try that again. Feet together, knees up, and hold your petals out with your hands. Now is the time to really think about what our flower looks like. Does it look like the flower that you imagined in the beginning, or is it something a little bit different? And as we're observing our flower, all of a sudden we see a huge, beautiful butterfly. And she flies over and flaps her wings, and she lands on the flower. So let's try butterfly pose. So put your feet together, and then flap your wings like a butterfly. Now, this is a very magical flower. And we're trying to figure out why it's magical. We're not quite sure yet. But as we observe the butterfly, we see that she's taking nectar from the flower. She needs the butterfly to survive. So we don't want to pick the flower, because if we pick it and we take it, then the magic is lost. So we see how important it is for the butterfly to have that flower. So what we want to do instead is let's get into easy pose. Open up our satchel and get our notebook out and our pencil. And so instead of picking the flower, we're going to draw it. And that way, it stays in our memories forever. Now it looks like it's starting to get a little bit late. The sun is starting to kind of dip over the top of the mountain. So maybe we should head home. And just before we start to head home, oh, we see a little frog hopping along. Let's hop down the hill with the frog. So let's try frog pose. Put your feet on the ground, and your arms can go either on the inside or outside of your knees. And let's do a couple hops together. And hop. And we hop all the rest of the way down the mountain. So now it's time for us to think about everything we just observed and everything that we just learned. And when we get back down to the bottom of the mountain, after all of those poses and all of that hopping, we're really tired. So we're going to take a well-deserved rest. So let's lay down in the middle of your mat, and you can kind of just let your arms relax, let your shoulders fall to the side, your feet fall to the side. And just lay here for a few moments. Breathe in and out. Really start connecting with your breathing. And we're going to now try 5 of those flower breaths that we tried before. So keeping your eyes closed, you're really going to breathe in and smell the aroma of the flower, and then breathe out. That was 1, now 2. 3. And 4. And 5. Now just let your breathing return to normal. And I want you to think about all of the images that we saw today. So we are going to reflect or think back on everything that we observed or looked at. So today we did frog pose like a frog, and we hopped down the mountain. We did tree pose when we saw the tree, an eagle pose when the eagle was there. We also pretended we were the mountain and did some sun salutations. And we saw a beautiful butterfly that landed on our magical flower. And we learned a very valuable lesson about observing nature and how it's very, very important that nature is preserved because its purpose is really wonderful. So just keep breathing and reflecting on your journey, knowing that it's all written in your notebook and you can revisit that journey at any time. Now when you're ready, you can roll to the side. So bring your knees up, kind of rock them back and forth. Use your hands to help you up. And we're going to sit back in easy pose. Now is the time for you to talk with your family about your journeys and talk about the flower that you saw and how magical everything was. Thank you so much today for being here for this yoga story, and I hope that this inspires you and your family to come up with your own yoga stories as you have fun and share the joy of yoga. Thank you for being here today. Namaste.